October 5th, 2014, from Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. It was the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners won the toss, and they elected to defer, so the Chiefs got the ball first. They would start their drive on their own 19, and they drove the field in 12 plays, going 81 yards, about 6.5 minutes, capped off by a 2-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith to Kelch, and it was now 7-0 Kansas City as they had a touchdown lead over the Niners. So now the Niners got the ball with about 8.5 minutes left in the first, and they started their drive on their own 28. They got into Kansas City territory all the way to the red zone, but their drive stalled on the Kansas City 13, and Phil Dawson came out to kick a 31-yard field goal, and it was now 7-3 as the Niners trailed the Chiefs by 4 points. So now the Chiefs got the ball, and they started their drive on their own 13 with about 4.5 minutes left before the end of the quarter, and they brought the quarter to a close as they had brought the ball to midfield and crossed into San Francisco territory. And so on the first play of the second quarter, it was 2nd and 7 from the San Francisco 45. They had a 16-yard pass that brought them to the 29 of San Francisco, and then 4 plays later, they ended up kicking a field goal as they weren't able to get into the red zone, and Santos was good from 42 yards out, and it was now 10-3 as the Chiefs were back up by a touchdown over the 49ers. So now the Niners took over with a little over 12 minutes left before halftime, and they had the ball on their own 18-yard line. They crossed midfield, and they got to the Kansas City 38, but there their drive stalled, and Phil Dawson would come out to kick his second field goal of this game. This one from 55 yards out, and it was good to make it 10-6 as the Niners were back down by 4. So now Kansas City had the ball with a little under 10 minutes left before halftime. They would end up punting it after 6 plays. They did get 1 first down, but that would be the only first down they got on the possession. So now the Niners took over with about 7 minutes left in the quarter. They were backed up against their own end zone as they were on their own 7-yard line to begin their drive. They ended up getting out of their own shadow of the end zone. They got up to the 23 for 3rd and 5, and that's when Kaepernick hit Anquan Boldin for a 27-yard pass that brought the ball to midfield at the 50. They would end up getting a 10-yard pass from Kaepernick to Miller to bring it into Kansas City territory to the 40. And then they ended up a few plays later up on the Kansas City 20 for 3rd and 1, and Frank Gore ended up picking up the first down as he got just enough, as he got 2 yards on the play. So it was 1st and 10 from the Kansas City 18, and an incomplete pass, but there was a roughing the passer that would make it 1st and goal from the 9, and that's when Colin Kaepernick found Stevie Johnson in the end zone for a 9-yard touchdown pass as the 49ers took the lead at 13-10 as they were now up by a field goal over Kansas City. So the Chiefs now got the ball back, but they weren't able to get anything going as there was about 30 seconds on the clock, and this game went to halftime with the score San Francisco 13, Kansas City 10. So to begin the second half, the Niners would have the ball, and they would go 3 and out, and they punted the ball to the Chiefs, who now had the ball with about 13.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and they made short work of the short field as they went 58 yards in 4 plays in about a minute and a half, capped off by a 17-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith to Thomas as the Chiefs took back the lead, and it was now 17-13 as Kansas City was up by 4 points over San Francisco. So the Niners now had the ball on their own 23 with about 12 minutes left in the third, and they would end up marching down the field and coming into Kansas City territory, but their drive stalled on the 34, and they would end up kicking a field goal. Phil Dawson came out to kick his 3rd field goal of the game, this one from 52 yards out, and the Niners were now within 1 point of Kansas City with the score 17-16. So the Chiefs took over with about 6 minutes left in the third, and they would go 3 and out. So now they punted the ball to San Francisco, who also would go 3 and out, and they punted the ball back to Kansas City, who had the ball on their own 45 with a little over 2 minutes left in the quarter. And then they would end up punting the ball just before the quarter came to a close. So San Francisco now had the ball on their own 20, and they ran a play, a 7-yard run for Hyde, and that brought the quarter to a close. So now after 3, it was 17-16 with the Chiefs ahead of the 49ers by 1 point. So to begin the fourth quarter, the 49ers were on their own 27, They ended up bringing the ball across midfield when on 3rd and 10 from their own 32, Colin Kaepernick hit Brandon Lloyd for a 29-yard reception. So that brought the ball to the Kansas City 39 for a first down. Hyde then ran for 7 yards. It was 2nd and 3 from the 32, and Frank Gore ran for 14 yards. That brought the Niners to the red zone. And then on 3rd and 10 from the 18, they ended up getting 9 yards in the just shy of the first down as Colin Kaepernick hit Anquan Boldin. So on 4th and 1 from the Kansas City 9, Phil Dawson came out to kick his 4th field goal of the game, this one from 27 yards out, and it gave the Niners the lead by 2 points with the score 19-17, San Francisco over Kansas City. So now the Chiefs got the ball with less than 9 minutes on the clock, and they went 3 and out, so they punted to the Niners, and the Niners took over with a little over 7 minutes remaining in this game. They had the ball on their own 32. They would bring the ball across midfield and into Kansas City territory and all the way into the red zone. And then they had 1st and goal on the 9, but they lost a yard. So it'll be 2nd and goal on the 10, and they lost 2 yards. So then it was 3rd and 12, and an incomplete pass brought out Phil Dawson for the 5th time in this game as he kicked his 5th field goal, this one from 30 yards out. And the score was now 22-17. So now with a little over 2 minutes on the clock, the Kansas City Chiefs had the ball on their own 20-yard line, down by 5 points. And on first down, they threw an incomplete pass, so that brought up 2nd and 10. And Alex Smith dropped back to pass and was intercepted by Cox. And so the Chiefs turned the ball over to the Niners, and they would just take knees and bring this game to a close as the San Francisco 49ers win 22-17 over the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Niners are now 3-2 on the season, and the Chiefs are 2-3. And in this game, Colin Kaepernick was 14 for 26 with 201 yards passing as well as a touchdown. He also ran for 18 yards off of 10 carries. Alex Smith was 17 for 31 with 175 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also ran for 6 yards off of 1 carry. The leading rusher in this game was Frank Gore with 107 yards off of 18 carries. Jamal Charles had 80 yards off of 15 carries, and he also caught a pass for 4 yards. The leading receiver in this game was Brandon Lloyd, who had 3 receptions for 76 yards. The leading receiver for Kansas City was Hemingway with 4 receptions for 50 yards. The leading tackler was Johnson for the Chiefs with 11 tackles, 2 of which were for losses. Patrick Willis was the leading tackler for the San Francisco 49ers with 8 tackles. And Cox had that 1 interception, the game's lone interception, as that shut the door and made the difference there at the end with that turnover. So the Niners win at home, their 2nd time this year, as they win with the final score 22-17.